Jason, did Delton said to you? So, what did he said to you before when you just came back? Did anyone told you things already? He said he's about to protect the overpass, so we just got a lot of few things on our plans. So, in that case, the overpass is still under attack, so we just haven't got any issues, but, we just got a lot of few things already. So first of all, Simon, it'll be more difficult for what we are now is run it now. Because we didn't find anything constantly, so I know, but there isn't any more evidence that we haven't find any of the particulars, so we had to solve the problem, so we just get in our ways to get in. First of all, we have our plans to search, so we are searching more evidences that we don't see. It won't never happen when it's done, so that by the time at this point, well, we didn't know what we are going to do after this part of a half term. But at this term, Simon, well, we didn't know what we are going to do after this point. So we didn't know what we are going to do though. But eventually, Simon, we didn't do anything what we always do as much as we do. As much as we all do, as we speak. You see right there? That's the case right here. So I now know that something must have done something real particular bad issues. So, but that's the case. But we not know what we are going to do is beginning to that point where we were. I'm totally feel better right now because I don't think anyone who gets away from any other of these impacts, well, they've never been here for like any longer. Although there is a few changes that we ever seen in our lives, because we haven't stopped anything from their course. But what we should think about it of, what we just think of it, we're thinking it in our heads. So yeah, we have to work it out and see what's going on in our lives. But the case isn't more fun, because I now know that anybody who gets away from the other courses, well, something must have done something all the time. Not to be haggling on the prices, but eventually. But we may not know that it'll be more time to protecting the overpass, so we get to the overpass and save people. So, but for now on, it'll be more difficult to protect the overpass in the South Carolina. So why do we think, or why do we not think? Well, actually, Jason, I dare you say that, but it's very hard to say, but it's very hard to answer, but for some of the reasons, Jason, it wouldn't been involved for not using any of these militaries, but, it wouldn't been involved for everything that it doesn't belongs to where they started. Because I now know that something must have done at this happening all the time. So I get to know where all these people, whoever speaks against the monks, that amongst the willings, but they don't get the beginning of the particular sentences, but from now on, it'll be discharged, because everybody who gets away from malware versions. But to begin with, I hate one of those people who gets away from the impact, because I don't deserve it. They don't deserve much better than all yours. Because if we don't think about it, then we're not telling lies all the time, but we're always telling the truth, what we always did. So I now know what we're thinking about is to get in there and put it on the step. So I now know there isn't any more issues that what we've seen. So although, Jason, I get to know where all these... Okay. Here's the deal. We knew there was a lot of few things that it changes a lot. But a lot more than people who gets away from the impact. But it never changed at all. So first of all, it gets into their attention. So we now know that anybody else who gets into that point where we are were, or get to that point where we are not were, just not to be in here for like any of these lives, then they're not protecting their lives from the impact, but impacting to the zones eventually. So I don't really think we're on the case, but the case is now, Jason, is we don't really feel any excitement, that we don't really make ourselves an individual, but not to be individual exercises, but to be simple with. We don't really have to believe if it wasn't our job now, because we don't think it was us. If it wasn't us, then who knows? They don't get to know what they are doing. Or even the willings. I think so. So, Jason, so what do you reckon about... Have you ever recognised these particular impacts or something? Or something else might have done? I hope anyone else who gets away from the impacts. But to beginning with, I don't believe I'm not really concerned of any particular politics, but not such as the impacting zones, whoever that is. But I do really think there is the truth. Well, there is the truth that it lies ahead. Hopefully we should rearrange that as a repository group. But this is what we are going to do for ourselves. So if we get into this point, so it means that we don't really do exactly what we are going to do to make ourselves in mind games. We're not having the whole mind games, are we, Jason? Well, surely not. By the way, Simon, but Delton is protecting the overpass, so he's gonna send some of his SVC's officers. So we're just getting things all ready. So first of all, Delton, he's going to send his SVC officers to the overpass. So they're protecting this place from the MWF. Okay, so first of all, they're about to seek it into this particular. So now I wear now, but it doesn't really matter about where all these people will get in there. But there is a fortunate ways that we've seen. But if we get into that point, well, we are were. So we get into that point where we are doing. But that is the case. But if we get to that point, Simon, moving on to the next point. Right, I think I need to making ourselves in mind. So, but in that case, if it's true, so let's make our own way. Well, let's make our own ways to get into that point. We're moving on to the checkpoint as we speak. So, if we get to that point now, it'll be absolutely nothing for dangerous. Not any dangerous times, but nothing to be serious at all. But if we get to that point now, it'll be absolutely fine. No help. No helps. Alright? If we get to this now, we'll get them to protect the overpass.